perfect.
Oh yeah. No.
Oh man, these things. Now that I got a job at the cannabis industry, I can just cut them off.
Yeah, fuck that. Don't go cutting your dreads.
No, I would.
I swear to God,
I
that's
talk
probably.
so much shit on people that cut their dreads, but I get it sometimes. Like my sister, she's took hers out. She didn't cut her hair. She took her hair out just because the person that helped her do them just did not section them right. They did flat sections, so she had some flatty McPatties and stuff. And it was like, I told you just to let me do it. I'll do it. I would have did it for free. This person charged her and paid all this money. It's like that's weird for one. You mess up, I feel. I let them do, unless they're like yours. You have a style going. She was just doing dreads like me. I was like, I just let them do what they do, and then once they start to combine, I rip them apart, and it tightens them up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
I got the more like, fuck, I don't even know. My dreads are crazy. But I've had
your hair's growing though.
Yeah, I've had them for 2 years. I seen a video of me with my fucking hair, my dreads 2 years ago, and
It never
a lot shorter.
It never feels like they grow. Never. It's like they stay the same length. Like I feel like they've been the same length the whole time, and I lose I think more length than I grow nowadays. From when I like lean up or sit on them, or I'm sleeping, I wake up and I'm like, there's another dread. It's like because they'll get thin in some sections, which I get. I've always the way I have to pull them up at work when I was doing construction and shit, and yeah, like always pulling my hair up when I go out.
Yeah, I didn't wear a hat yesterday at that show, and I just pulled my dreads up and fucking.
Doing the ninja knot.
Yeah, and fucking everybody's sitting there like, oh man, I like your dreads, man. Yeah. And one guy's like, oh, you got a black craft jacket and dreadlocks? You're a rock star, dude. And I was like, hey, fucking plagiarize me, asshole.
Funny thing is, one time me and some buddies, it was all of our birthdays down in July. It was when I was living in Virginia Beach. And it was my best friend Box at the time, and Clag is the other dude. And we all Box had real long hair, and they looked like real thin dreads from when we were go out and surf and shit. He didn't like brush his hair all out, make it pretty. Just looked like he had like little curly box locks. But me and fucking Clag had long ass dreads. This was before I cut them my first time. And we got some water at this hotel. We rented out the beach. It's called the Catch 21. It's this bar, really nice bar for the Hilton. It's like a restaurant right on the beach. And we got the fucking the presidential suite or whatever up there, and got some water. And the guy that comes to bring it to us brings us a bottle of Voss. And we're like, we didn't even know what it was at the time. And he asked us, are you guys like rock stars or something? And my boy's like, Clag, he goes, no, we just live right actually down the road. We're just doing this for our birthday. We're like, man, you should have let it go. Like, I owned that one.
At Riot Fest last year up in Chicago. No, it was the year before last because COVID happened. So the last Riot Fest, me and my girlfriend walked right into the VIP section of the fucking show where all the band guys are, and no one even asked us for credentials or nothing, and we didn't even realize it. And I went up to this fucking Chinese little stand, and I ordered some fried rice and some crab ragoon, and they just gave it to me.
Yeah, if you put a cigarette in your mouth and just walked around, they'd be like, oh, dude, I didn't know Highly Suspect was fucking performing tonight.
they totally thought
Johnny, isn't that his name? Johnny? Yeah. Is that John? It's Johnny.
Terrible Johnny's here.
Yeah. I like the Brothers, the acoustic blues song. That's like that's what I really was like. Oh shit, they got it. Because they're a 3-man band, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last greatest 3-man band was Rush. Not a huge Rush fan. Rush fans would kill me for saying that.
They're twin brothers.
Yeah, and they're fucking God. Like that the one that the other dude sings. It comes on and it's real bluesy. It's a slower song. They do. I think it's the Spotify acoustic sections. One of those shows like NPR, Tiny Desk or something. One of them that they did, and they have it. I actually got the special edition record that's like blue, the electric blue one.
They'll switch it up in concert, and Johnny will jump on the drums and start playing the drums, and the drummer will come out and start singing, and it's just like, okay.
And then when he did that, when I heard that one where he's on the sits out there and just does it on the piano and sings the one to his old lady,
Chicago.
Yeah. That one right there, I was like, because that's the kind of shit I'm into. I like watching. That's the one time I ever gave Lil Wayne respect is when he sat his ass down on the stool, played a song on his guitar that he had like somebody trained him or he took lessons, something, learned a little bit of a skill, and did an actual song. It's like, I mean, damn, it's better than I can do. I mean, most of the stuff Lil Wayne can do. I was just never a fan. I think he paved the road for these mumble rappers we have today. He's like the OG of mumble rappers.
The coding,
Yeah.
kids, man.
And they made him sound like they held him up to Pac, and I was a huge Pac and Biggie fan, and they were like, he's, better than that. And I was just like, nah, he's not. I hated that song Fireman with that damn siren in the background the whole time.
Funny you say that is because, like, me and my girlfriend were hanging out, and she's trying to tell me about the Fireman song. And I was like, I don't know, I never heard it. Because I was into rock. I didn't listen to rap music at all. And I definitely didn't listen to Lil Wayne. Yeah. And she was like, you've never heard Fireman? She started playing it, and I was like, turn this shit off.
Yeah, that siren is
I was
so
like,
annoying.
Turn it off now. And this was last week, and it's so funny we're talking about
That
this.
is funny. Yeah, no, I get it, though. I can't, who am I? He has millions of fans, like diehard fans that call him the GOAT now.
Who are you? You're an American that has formed an opinion.
Yeah, but when it comes to, like, with my opinion, I'm nobody. He's obviously he does something right to have millions of fans, and make the millions.
Yeah.
So he does. I'm not taking that from him. I'm just saying I don't think his skills. He did lyrically. He's no Big L. He's not Gangstar, the Guru. Even I don't even hold him up to those levels.
I have no clue who those guys are. But
oh wow, like Big. You want to talk about the freestyle, like roast you motherfucker, like gangster ass dude? Yeah, Big L was the like big. And Gangstar, he's an OG legend. That's back in the like MF Doom days. Back when Common was Common Sense.
Yeah, dude, I grew up in a trailer park like a couple miles down the road from here. And I guarantee you, I'm one of the only people that didn't have to use a GPS to get to this house. You know, like that. I've been here once before, but like.
Let me ask you this: are your plates legal? Because I've had a few guests come here that have had illegal plates, and then a few guests that come here that have canceled because I didn't realize it was so far. My plates are illegal. I was like, I get it.
Bullshit.
I get it.
You go to cross into the Jefferson County line, and some people just don't come out there. Like I grew up here. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I know. Like my friend lived right down the road. Yeah. And, he hung himself a couple of years ago, like right before the pandemic. He hung himself, and
that's not nice.
It's not nice, but, like I went to the funeral, and it was so awkward. Like, I know I look weird, but it was like everybody, like the whole funeral home's like turned around staring at me, and I'm like coming in the door, and I'm like, oh shit.
Like you were the one that shot him up the last time or something.
No, and he didn't even have a drug problem. So he was a great dude. He apparently his baby mama had found out that she had cancer and she was gonna die, and he was gonna have to be the one responsible. And he had a farm. And he had livestock and all kinds of shit, and like normal life that most people would be envious of.
I'm a married man, and I lean on my wife a lot. I get it.
Oh yeah.
I don't even want to think about having to be the one that has to pull.
Well, he hung himself over it, and it's terrible. And no one knew that at the time. So when he died, I go to the funeral, and as I said, I walked in the door, and everybody's turning and looking at me and my girlfriend, and I was like, oh shit. This is weird. And, it's a line because, when a young person dies, you have a line. Most time. And I'm standing there, and the dad is, like, greeting people that are coming in. And then he comes up to me, and he's like, how did you know Jeremy? And I was like, I was in a band with him. I mean, we grew up together. He's like, you were in a band with him? I don't remember you. And I was like, well, I played the bass guitar and sang. I mean, I remember you. I remember eating your cookies at your house before you and your wife got a divorce. I remember, bud. And he was like, hold on a second. You were that little short fat kid. And I was like, yeah.
It
I
was.
guess I was that little short fat kid, you motherfucker. And then he goes, this is all his baby mama's fault, right?
Oh man, that's.
And I was like,
It's not her fault that he took the easier way out.
and no one knew anything about her having cancer at the time, right?
Okay.
So I was like, wow, who knows, man? We don't know what people are dealing with. And the thing is this dude wrote the lyrics to My Name is Human is a suicide note from Highly Suspect. Crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
and put that video on his Facebook, shared that video like probably 5 minutes before he went in his garage.
They
and
do
hung
have a
himself.
couple of songs that are pretty fucking like, yeah.
It was crazy. And then we go forward in life, and months go on, and then that November his baby mama passed away from cancer, and then now his daughters, he had 2 twin daughters that have to be raised by, I don't even know who's raising them.
It sounds like he has a lot of family. So.
Yeah, but hopefully not grandpa, because he sounds like kind of a dick. He's kind of an ass.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys have got to put yourself in his shoes. He's burying someone that's supposed to be, he's burying his son. You don't want to think of your father.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
no, I couldn't imagine. And I would probably.
He's just trying to blame
guy.
it on someone, and that's how people are sometimes. Like my mom.
Yeah.
Is going through it with my dad. He's got like stage 4, and she's been known to use me as a punching bag. Everything and I get it. She's going through an emotional roller coaster, but sometimes I can't handle that because I'm going through it too. It's my pops as well, so no one knows how to handle it, and I get that. So I just kind of have to keep my distance.
Yeah, dude, it's not easy. No, it's not. And like literally life is not that easy when you're watching each other grow old and then boom, something like that. I wouldn't want to be in that position, his position. My buddy that had to feel like he had to kill himself.
Yeah, none of those positions those are all like those
I couldn't imagine.
ones that's probably gonna be. Luckily, Jules doesn't smoke. I like that, but like seeing the man. See, I grew up, like I said, I've got my stepdad, which I always you'll hear me call him pops and shit. But he's the black guy that why I grew up in a black family, and he was like, he did boxing in the military, and he was Army and Navy. He was a big guy. He was very strict. He was all about respect, and he was a bigger man.
He was a military guy.
Yeah. He was the man that I looked at. It was like, yeah, if I was to say my dad can beat up yours, that was the one I was talking about. Because my real dad, which is the gay dad, me and him are just as, close. He's retired from the Coast Guard. He lost it in a boat propeller, and he's married to a guy that's right around my age, or maybe right around my age. He came out of the closet, and when my grandfather passed away and got married, and one of the first men, I believe, to get married in North Carolina when they made it legal. Yeah. So he's paved the way for some of these young, LB. He paved it before there was so much of an alphabet, It was still just LB and G.
Yeah, and dude, love is love. And that's what people don't realize, and a lot of people that never get to love don't realize that, And as long as you just realize the gift that love is, and you don't take it for granted, I feel like that's gonna pay big time back. Because like I fucked up, I was a fucking scum husband. I cheated on my wife a bunch, and then fucking,
I haven't met one that's hot enough. Now, Nikki Glazier, if you want to come up and I've hit you up to get you on the podcast. Help a local St. Louis entertainer out. She's on my list. Celebrity on my list. That's that Jules is gonna be fine with it.
See, yeah, and don't think I'm talking about Lisa. I'm talking about my ex-wife. So Lisa and me have not gotten married.
So I never knew you were married. That was like Mike Ratcliffe. Didn't know he was married.
Yeah, I was married for 13 years, dude. 13 years of being married.
Was it a shotgun wedding? Goddamn.
So yeah. It was. All right. So like, it was like, okay, she's pregnant. You got to get married. And I was like, what? And then I was just like, hold on a second.
She's pregnant. This isn't fucking the 60s, Paul.
Oh, you know, dude, it was crazy.
I thought we lived in America.
It's exactly what I was thinking too. But
Last time I checked my watch, it said America, all right?
you know, if we're just honest about it, you know, I was like, I just moved out of my mom's house, and I was like a hobosexual, you know, like I needed a place to stay, and this bitch was like, I'm pregnant, and I was like,
Was this the stripping days?
No.
not yet.
This was in prior to the stripping days. I was married when I was a stripper. She was like, "Yeah, go get that money, motherfucker."
I've asked my wife. I was like, "Look, I will start hitting the gym, and I will get me an OnlyFans. I will start taking better care of my feet because that sells too."
Dude, at Pops yesterday, when you go in, they have to scan you down with the metal detector, and my dick ring threw off the fucking metal detector. He's like, "Ooh, what the fuck?" And I was like, "I got my dick."
I can pull it out. You want to see it?
And he's like, "That's not stainless steel." I was, what the fuck does that mean, bro? I was like, I'm guaranteeing you that was stainless steel, all right? And then what is it, you think because the metal detector picked it up, it's not stainless steel? Dude, when you think, this gun's made of stainless. I'm getting on an airplane, you know? Like, no, it's not how it works there, buddy, you know? But it was just funny. I was like, wow, that's not making it past airport security. Not that it really matters.
Yeah, the airport securities give me. I remember the time that I snuck actual narcotics onto a trip with me for a weekend with a chick that I was friends with, you know, but we were hooked up. She was going through a separation. Her grandfather died. And but she wasn't really close with him. She was just her parents wanted her there, and they it was the family. It was a weird kind of situation, hostile situation, because her and her family didn't get along too well, but they had to keep that image, you know, and so it drove her away. Anyways, and this is right when they came out with these X-ray machines that you walk in and they scan the whole body.
Yeah, you do that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been working on a bit about it being to where it's like instant sweating, but the TA guy was fucking cool as shit, but he knew what was up because he looked at me and he sees me looking at him, and he looked at me and looked at the scanner and just was like, "You got something in your ass, bitch." Like, that was the look. He didn't have to say it, but that was the look. And he was just like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Oh, jeez. See, I got on the plane and I took a bunch of acid prior to getting on the plane, and then I had an ounce.
Would never.
I had an ounce of weed in my pocket of my pants in the bag, so I also have diabetes. So they flag me and they pull me over and they start opening up my bag, and they open up my cooler because I have a cooler right on top with my insulin in it. As soon as they opened it up and seen that I had insulin in there, zipped everything up and was like, "I'm very sorry, sir. Have a good day." And I was tripping.
Yeah, they seen that on the scanners, you know, the needles. That's what. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit, dude!" And I mean, I get on the plane and I got a window seat, and I'm sitting there looking out the window, and I'm just like, "Is that a UFO?" And
It could have been. Look at what's going on, bro. I've been saying it since it started this thing.
bro, I've been saying that shit too. Like, I'm definitely
even the Democrats are saying it on CNN.
I was telling motherfuckers about this shit I seen it was in Nashville. I went to a Panic show. I don't know if you know who Widespread Panic is, but they're like a hippie band. And I went out to one of their shows, and then they have an after party, and it's another part of their band playing at this after party. And we're at this Acme Feed and Seed, and it's just like a 3-level honky-tonk jazz bar and then real like nightclub on top. But like, we're in the middle, and then it's outside. It's got like a little patio and shit, and we're outside and we're drinking. And you know, I was tripping, whatever.
It was like you said, hippie show,
oh yeah,
late after party.
I probably had cocaine in my system
Festival.
too. Like, if we're
Yeah.
being real with each other.
Yeah.
I was probably
Narcotics were involved. I already had narcotics. I didn't have to ask. Like, I was like, yes,
I
narcotics
yelled at
involved.
the guy that was doing the horse and carriage outside, and my buddy like freaks out because like that's animal abuse. I know some people feel some type of way about it, but like those horses aren't meant to walking up and down fucking cobblestone streets with their fucking feet, and it's like bad on their feet and shit like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm
And-
from a beach that has them wild free. That is like one of the protected beaches, Kerala. You can still go on that beach and everything, but they're protected, and they don't have none of their. They don't have those shoes on or nothing. They have paws, and they're. And them motherfuckers are gangster too. They just walk. You be fishing, and you all of a sudden this quiet ass horse is just right there.
yeah,
And you're like, oh shit! And the motherfucker's like, what's up, man? And tourists have been feeding them more and more, which they're not supposed to. You can get big fine. But they're like, you know what's up? You better have some of them apple munchy things that they got at the store down the road and
If
all
not,
the
you
other
better get
tourists.
down there and get some. They sell them by the bag, and if you go in the dumpster,
They
you
will
find some.
fuck you up
Yeah.
too with kiddos. But yeah, they there was one island that they all swam up on after a boat wreck on the Spaniards because that's what they've tested them as. But they're all protected there.
I didn't even see the guy in the horse and buggy at first, and my older buddy knows me, and he knows me from St. Louis and yelling at the motherfuckers here in St. Louis, and then he just turns around and slaps me in the chest, and he's like, "Don't, motherfucker," because we were frying, and I was like, "What the fuck, man?" And he looked back at the horse and carriage, and I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "Animal abuse," and I just start going at him. Whatever. So we get in there. We're in the show, and we're out back, and this motherfucker starts to drink out of his beer, and his eyes peeled just like a reptilian, dude.
I hear you told me the story last.
That shit was so crazy, man.
And, yeah, no, the reptilian thing is it's kind of crazy, but they have found these figurines that date way old, supposedly, that are like of these reptilian-oid, like humanoid reptilians that have like are holding baby. Like one of them looks like it's nursing a baby. Another one's it looks like a royal man and a royal wife standing next to like as a figurine that was a
Shit's
priest.
real, man.
It was kind of crazy, but I mean, they don't know the inners of our earth. They don't know the fucking ocean. That's where they finally now believe and are admitting that. And I've been saying this since the beginning. I was like, if they come from space, they can go in the oceans. Like there was a movie about it back in the day. Like they did it. I forget what the movie's
Yeah,
called.
did you see that shit out like off the California
Oh,
coast?
yeah.
There's a big UFO base, it's just an underground base, probably UFO base, and they found it on Google Maps is where they originally found that shit, and then they were like, okay, so we got to admit there's something there, like you can look at it, you can Google Map it right now and look at it. And
What is it now?
there's a base. It's over a mile wide base under the ocean, and no one's like, even the United States hasn't been like, well, it's our base, But it's
Yeah, I know they got underwater base. Shit, out there where I grew up, it was the largest Navy base in the world. So it's and I've seen just what we're allowed to see, what they just be having on the back of trucks transporting in and out of this military base. And that's also Langley, Virginia, the CIA's main headquarters base and everything.
Yeah. You're trying to get this podcast shut down. Right?
No, all of that. And what I know they have just out on the roads and what they have just sitting there in lots, like I see that, and I know the amount of power our military and the amount of technology that it takes. Because my dad is retired military, so we would go on the base a lot because that's where I would get like dentist work done, or sometimes he'd get hospital work because he was DAV, he lost his arm. He had to get a lot of work done at the on the hospital on the base, and the grocery store was there, the exchange. You'd have to pay taxes there and everything. You can go there. So I would see, and they have the on the Coast Guard base, they have one of the largest helicopter repairs for the military there. So they would bring a lot of different aviation repair shit into there. I seen some jets and all kinds of shit. That's like, how the fuck?
So I'm gonna say it. Fucking, I have a person that I know that works on the border, right? and they were close to me, and they were just like, they always show me shit, right? Like cool shit that no one else gets to see. Well, a guy just appeared on the fucking border, butt naked, 30 miles away from anything, no car, no nothing, just appeared, just walking, butt naked. I could show you right now. And
Wait, when did this happen?
Sweet.
Like another dimension. See, they're fucking around with it. They've already admitted, because I get these science article updates all the time on new shit that's going on in the science industry and all the peer-reviewed shit that's up for review, and then they are okay, and these articles and these news alerts that they'll give you on Facebook lets you get a lot of good news articles that come in, but they're talking about a lot of dimensional fucking shit going on.
This guy just pops up in the middle of the desert, and there's no roads, there's no nothing, there's no way for this man to just appear.
I mean, it had to have been cold, because I mean, he's got some girth.
He was a show.
He just appeared, huh?
Yeah, and he's like, please don't put this out. You can open up the rest of the messages and like see, like, he's like, dude, this guy just appeared. Like,
That's nuts.
So not only that, but like he's in charge of like watching our border. So like a couple months ago, I don't know if you watched the news, but we had like a 15 passenger van wreck, and it had like 35 people inside of it. And it was a bunch of Hispanics coming over from Mexico.
Well, there's a lot of them motherfuckers, supposedly, from what the news is saying.
And they were packed into this 15 passenger, and they wrecked. And literally, he said that he watched people jumping out of this van, and they were just melting. And like, dude's arms just melting off of him. And he's trying to pick his arm up, and he's like grabbing it, and it's just falling apart in his hands. And that guy died. And he's like, dude, I watched him. He's like, because he's just watching cameras. And he's like, dude, I just watched. Like,
how did it explode?
So like,
or did it explode? I guess.
I don't know.
So
something happened.
Yeah.
They got in an accident, and it caused the fucking thing to explode. I'm sure that Ford's probably going to be sued.
Well, I know. What is it? You know what's taken over the conspiracy world right now? Because YouTube has now gone so corporate. Because back in the day, YouTube was you could go down a good rabbit hole with YouTube and have a good entertaining, like, blown mind on some shit. But TikTok now and it's like these 1 minute clips of like, hey, this is Sergeant or Corporal, whatever. I was shipped into the base, and they'll be talking about some base. And I mean, yes, this is conspiracy, and how am I supposed to be able to prove? But there's just a lot of trends that I'm seeing. It's like, these motherfuckers, it's 4chan all over again on certain, or subreddits, like conspiracy shit. I'm sure they shut those down since subreddits gotten popular now too. They shut down the Wall Street, which I'm hearing everybody talk about, this Wall Street bets now. It's like me and Mike Ratcliffe were talking about this shit last year on like the first episode of this shit. Mike Ratcliffe told me about it, and I was like, and I looked into it, and I was like, whoa, these guys are betting a lot. Like, because I wasn't, that was going on for a long time, years before. I was just last year when it was starting to get good, and it was like, oh shit, this could be something. And like, all I want to say is take your money off the table, because I know I was just talking to Reggie Gill, I believe it was, on Facebook, and he was talking about AMC and all that, and I was like, dude, just hedge your bets. You can protect yourself on these things. Like, there's a lot of volatility up and down, and I mean, I guess there's a couple guys from around here that are making money on it, and good for them. But just make sure you're taking your profits. Anytime you gotta, what is it? Know your trade, like, before you trade it. Have your, like, if you don't know what you're gonna do, like if you don't have a reason why on how high it's gonna go, or you think 30%, so take 10% off the table every time. Like, every 10%, take some money off the table. That way you're only at risk for 10% of your shit, and you made big profits.
I'm shooting a commercial. By the time this airs, I'll probably already have shot this commercial. And
I've got much better than last time, buddy.
And well, no, I'm saying like probably in the next week we'll be shooting this commercial, and it's for a cryptocurrency, and they haven't. I think they're already on market maybe, but they haven't really taken off yet. but then they're trying to pay me in cryptocurrency, and
What's the name? I follow a lot. I've made money.
called-
I've made money off this Doge. I'm not talking shit on these guys doing it, because I was making hella money off Doge, and I didn't even realize it at first. I didn't even pay attention to it because I had checked out those for when Robinhood started to get a little bit popular a couple years ago. Because I went to college for this shit before dropping out, and I've followed the market all the time. You might have heard me talk about stocks here and there, and shit like that. But that shit's awesome what they're doing. But there's only a few people that are actually taking money off the table because they have this trend that's called diamond hands. The way they're just going to hold the stock and they're just going to think it's like, and not everybody's going to do that. You got to take money off the table. You got to let go of that shit. You don't want to be left holding the bag.
Yeah.
You don't want to be left holding this overpriced shit. And then when it falls, the AMC is like a movie theater.
And so this stuff is called pussy coin.
Pussy coin. I can see that getting popular in Vegas.
So the way it goes is like, the guy was like, "Hey man, we're looking for ideas on this commercial. Do you have anything that you could think of?" So I went and I sat for half a night, and I was like, "Man, what about like a nerdy dude on his computer, and he's fucking looking at his stocks?" And they're starting to go up, and he's boom. All of a sudden, we cut into this dude's balling. He's in Louis V from head to toe. He's fucking got strippers everywhere. And then I bust in the room, and I'm like, "Hey man, save some pussy for the rest of us." And he's like, "Golden, dude. That's fucking golden, man." And I was like, "Yeah, dude. I was just."
He said, "That's what I do. I just got these bitches painted, motherfucker."
Yeah. I'm just like, dude, I got gold. I'm a vat of bullshit. I just like, man, I got it.
Me and Mike Radcliffe sat up here one night and did a sketch. Wrote up a sketch on the Wall Street bet shit. All these people that are like, fuck the corporations and the big banks, and it's all about the guys that started this whole thing, and they're like, we don't get health care, we don't get fair wages. All these capitalists, capital that, fuck this, that. And then, like, all of a sudden they get big, they hit it big. It all happens, the short squeeze hits. Yeah. And they make a ton of money, and then it goes to the next scene, and it's them wearing, like, Hugh Hefner robes, and they're, like, owning companies, and they're like, they want how much an hour? like, look, you guys are going to have to pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Lay off the Starbucks, all right?
And it's like, dude, like,
how money corrupts you so bad.
It's so funny because it's just like, like the whole goal with the comedy and, just in life in general is to be successful. We all want success, and
successful is I guess looked at it. They have that bullshit that like they don't measure success from the amount that you make, but if I can make money and replace my bills off of just comedy and on the road and whatever, that's success to me.
Exactly.
Like there's people that want more. Maybe they need to be able to live in LA.
When you went to Indiana and did your show, the crowd loved you, right?
Yeah, they were very. The crowd was great. It was a great crowd. I was very stoked about it.
And I'm not comparing to fucking Cox, but better than St. Louis.
Well, yeah, they only get one. This guy only puts them on like once or twice a month. I mean, for one weekend a month or something like that. And he really promotes them a lot online and like flyers out and really hits the ground pavement.
Not shitting on our city at all. It's just when you go outside of St. Louis and do comedy, and you're like a different person like me and you are, like a crowd cannot like you. A crowd can be like, fuck this hippie, dude, prior to you even getting on that mic. St. Louis is like that. But when you go out of town, like I was sitting outside and I had a sold out show up in Joliet, and I was just one of the, features on the show. It wasn't like I was headlining or anything, but I was a part of a sold out show. And I've never been to Joliet before. And the club was like, it was like a 420 show. So it was on the 17th and right before 420. And so it was a 420 friendly show. Like they're giving away bongs. I go in this room and I sit down and I'm looking at the rest of the room. And, like, I only have the host to judge the room on. And, like, that's how I do a lot of my shit whenever like, I'll have my set written out, but I'll alter it depending on the reception of the host or the prior comics to me. I'll watch their shit.
Yeah.
I'll watch how the audience responds, and then I'll add or take away jokes that I was gonna tell or do tell. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched this room, and the host is up there, and the audience was hard to read, and it was a bunch of people wearing real tree camo and not looking like they're gonna respond well to the old fucking hippie kid with fucking stripper jokes and shit, So I'm like, oh man. And I started getting butterflies in my stomach, like I would before a fight.
Slide your phone down a little further away. It kind of interferes sometimes for some reason.
Like I would before a fight, dude. Like the same kind of butterflies that you would get before you would go and get into a fist fight in a cage.
Yeah.
I was starting to get sitting in this fucking room, getting ready to do some comedy. I was sitting here like, man, fuck, dude. I
think, yeah.
I'm gonna fuck up, dude.
I forget who it was that I heard say it, but I was told about that feeling. Like that's what makes or breaks a lot of people. They hate that feeling. It's either you got to learn to either love that feeling when you learn to love that, you're gonna have to, because you're gonna have that. And like last night we did an open mic. I went with John Maddie to that one out there in Belleville, and not a bad place. The dude that runs it's super cool.
Did a lot of people show up?
Not many. I mean, me, John Maddie, Joe the Animal.
I was gonna go.
A few other people, I think.
But I had Corey Taylor. I was working.
So of all those guys, but then it just there was a table the whole time that was like they were already had been drinking by the time we had gotten there. Yeah, we got there early. And there was a food place, a Mexican restaurant.
Oh yeah, you're telling jokes to it's like a wall of tables in front of you, and they're eating Mexican food and drinking margaritas.
Well, no, this was just one table off to the side. There was no one.
No one else there.
Yeah, there was the chairs lined up against the wall, but one table over by the walk-in, and that table was just. They had already been in a conversation and laughing and having a good time, but when we had gotten there like 30, 40 minutes early, and they were already rowdy. So, and they just talked through everybody. It definitely, some of the comedians did well at powering through. Not me. I fucked up. I was just went in there with a whole different mindset. I was like, I just couldn't power through it, and I was just trying not to be mean because I was like, man, they were here. They probably didn't even know a comedy show was going on up until they turned this mic on. So how are they knowing? And I could see how much they had drank. I was like, fuck. But, I mean, they say you're just performing for a bunch of comics, and we're the worst crowd, like audiences.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we do not give up our laughs.
Man, I went at the fucking Big Daddies, and not that I'm saying fucking Big Daddies, but I like the mic. But I go up there, and Ronaldo was the host.
I did that one on Monday.
Tommy was sick with COVID, and fucking so Ronaldo was the only host, and he is like, guys, it's New Joke Monday. Let's hear your new shit, And so I had a whole list of new jokes that I was like, all right, fuck it. And I was one of the last comics to go, but I went up, and I told my new jokes, and I didn't get one laugh, like not one fucking laugh. And I was like, man, this is a tough fucking crowd. And I was like, look, dude, so I don't blow my head off tonight, I am going to tell an old joke and finish a set. And I told a joke, and then I got out. And then the next comic went up after me. And he's like, man, I swear to God, when you white motherfuckers talk about your dicks again, I'm tired of hearing that shit. Quit talking about your dicks. That shit's gay. And I was
What's wrong with being gay, man?
Yeah, I was just like,
which comic was that?
I don't know, it's some trash bag. I've never seen him before, honestly, ever. And he was trying to lay out rules or something. And I was like, oh, we're putting rules down or something, because I talk about my dick all the time.
That's half my material, buddy. Come to my next show.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
on this date.
Girls talk about their pussy and half the fucking material, and they can fucking kill a set. They got a room full of virgins clapping like crazy.
Dude, I had to follow the word upwards. This the erotic poet. She's like talking about taking pipe down the throat, gagging, all this shit, and I come up and I'm just like, I'm a little wet. I'm sorry, man. Like, I didn't know how to follow that shit. Like,
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
yeah, I'll let y'all take care of yourself.
Yeah.
She's not a bad looking girl. I've tried to find her on social media because I wanted to bring her on just to, because she seems like she'd be fun. She ain't got no filter, so she'd be fucking fun.
Dude, that mic is cool. And then fucking food out there.
Oh my God, there's too much sauce.
I'm a vegetarian, but they have these veggie fucking cauliflower wings.
Somebody else told me about them too.
And they're so goddamn good.
But I'm not if I can get wings. I'm sorry, cauliflower. Fuck your cauliflower. My mom used to make me eat that shit back when she did the Atkins diet or something.
That's how I feel about Brussels sprouts. Like I lost a Halloween to Brussels sprouts because like my stepdad was like a dick, and like I was gonna go trick or treating.
I ain't put nothing in my mouth that smells like farts. Sorry.
Yeah. And Brussels sprouts smell like a fart, bro. Like that shit is gross.
Like your collard greens, you better not make them smell like farts. Like,
Beef and broccoli. Beef and broccoli.
I don't eat broccoli. Yeah, my old lady always she gets that shit, and I'm like, just keep it away from me. I hate it. I always tell them not to put it in my General Tso's chicken. I'm like, don't put that broccoli in my shit. Like, I don't want
put that in General Tso.
They'll put like a piece of just steamed broccoli, two big pieces. It's like, what the fuck? I don't want this broccoli. It smells like a fart, you know, especially in this plastic casing and shit. She's like, pfft. It's like, I'm not hungry right now. I gotta let that fart wear off of this shit.
That's hilarious. Fucking so.
Oh, but I got actually a big one. You remember those shows I was going to put on at Bobby's last year before COVID?
Oh, yeah. Is that happening?
It's happening this month. Well, at the end of June 26th, it looks like the date's going to be. I've got Kyle Fields coming in to do it too. And it's not going to be like just a random open mic to where anyone can just come and sign up. I mean, people can come and do time, but it's going to be a shorter list with much more time. I can't take the whole fucking 4 or 5 minutes. I appreciate it. How else are you supposed to start? Just 5 minutes is so hard. It took me forever to get to 5.
Did you see about the open mic that I've got going on at the Red
I did
Flag?
see that. I watched the video you sent me about the
venue.
When are you doing that weekly thing? Because I'm not doing this one weekly.
No. This one is just a summer open mic that's fucking just, June 10th. Because it costs a lot of money to do a mic there. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. I'm coming out like $300 just to put a mic on at this venue. And it was going to be, a show for, the other comic in St. Louis. And it just didn't have the interest. No one had sold any tickets. No one had even, I had reached out and I had tried to hey, what's the deal? And it was just, fuck you, basically. And I was like, oh, well, I'm paying $300 for this venue, and I'm going to have this venue regardless. So why in the fuck do I got to do a show to help somebody that wouldn't do that in turn for anyone else? Like, wouldn't piss on fire to put you out kind of situation, Yeah. And so, and I know, that's my opinion only, but as soon as I told him, well, fuck, man, if you're not going to sell any tickets, then I'm just going to have to cancel the show because it's got to make sense for me, and outside that, it makes you look bad when you let someone use you like that and just fucking, it's like, all right, well, hey, I'm trying to help you here. If you can't at least try to help yourself or try to, if I'm going to put a benefit on, it at least has to benefit, and it wasn't going to benefit. There's no benefit if no one makes any money outside of me selling enough tickets to pay for the venue. You know what I mean? So
is it better for I could just throw you $300 and call it like what it is? It would be better than spending money on an empty crowd. I get it. No, I understand it.
It didn't even get to that point because as soon as I said, hey, well, then, I guess if you're not going to put any effort into this, and then I guess we're just going to have to cancel this because it's got to make sense to me. He started with some sideways ass threats, you know, like, you don't know what you just did, you just fucked up. And I was like,
Well, I mean, I know, I'm looking at it from what I've understood is he's going through a dark moment, rough time, real rough time in his life, and then like that shit too. He
yeah.
probably threw some words that maybe, but
Yeah,
I
but
think
the
he's got more stuff going on than worrying about anything
exactly.
about like
And the
that.
dude's throwing a benefit for himself 2 days after that.
Yeah,
And,
it's probably gonna be great.
yeah,
Go
and that'll
check
be
it.
awesome for him. And that'll be good, you know, because that's what he, you know, if he can't focus energy onto selling tickets at a show in his own town.
I don't know. Yeah, putting two shows on like that back to back is got it's. I'm
Yeah.
putting one on and I'm already stressing. It's a month away, but
Yeah, and
you
see,
know,
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I just was like, fuck it. And I would rather do something that benefits the whole comedy scene to where, like, everybody gets to get out and get a chance to be on this stage and do this mic.
because you can't replace the slot there, huh? You can't give it up.
You know, like,
He's already booked every.
he's booked
And it's like a last minute
until
thing, yeah.
fucking January, you know, and I have my dates already, you know, set the whole year. And like it's that I'm not gonna do something that's bad business for him too. And the
I know, yeah,
venue,
like I said, it's
the,
your
the venue
name.
loves the comedy and it loves us putting these shows on. The crowd is always super fucking great. We put about 80 people. You know, the last show is about 50 to 60 people in there. And
No, I did one when the second one I think you put on, and it was besides just the whole COVID, like it was so still early, not early, but it was still there when there was a lot of restrictions. Here soon, it's gonna get much
yeah,
better.
now we're at 100% capacity.
Yeah, that's
So-
why I'm able to do this Bobby's one. So yeah.
So it's 100% capacity, and you know, like the COVID shit's up. So who knows how it's gonna work? But like, I can sell 1,200 tickets to a show now. So we got some big shows coming to town. You know, they got the Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic that's already sold out, and you know, I get to be the guy that helps bring that shit to town.
Was Randy's cheeseburger? Is that like something to do with the
Trailer Park Boys.
Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Randy from the Trailer Park
Yeah.
Boys, you know, and they just have to figure the date to where they're gonna book that shit, you know, and
So if they're booked till January, that gives you basically like
Well-
7-8 months to find a big name. And
no.
get
So
it booked.
if something comes up that's a big name and it makes sense, and I show it to Robert, like, hey man, we'll sell this fucking place out. We're getting rid of whatever it is on that weekend, you know, or whatever, you know, we can book a weekend there. It's really what makes sense for them,
Yeah.
because it's just like they're leaving money on the table, and that's what I look at it. When I don't have a venue with people in here fucking enjoying themselves, drinking, having a good time, enjoying comedy, because like there's no bad seat in that place. You know what I mean? Like
No, it's a cool place. I was telling my buddy Antonio about it. He hasn't seen it yet, but he's been in talk. His band's been in talk with Discrepancies with them, and they're excited about playing it. It sounded like he couldn't wait, you know, because he's done shows at Foo Bar.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Antonio usually takes over, and when he puts on shows, he usually books the bands that are going to play with
talk
him.
about a glow up is Foo Bar to Red Flag.
They still have Foo Bar too, right?
No. So Foo Bar's closed, and like
So he just left it closed. He's not going to run them both. I bet he couldn't with the COVID shit.
no. So like right before COVID last year, I helped to move the Red Flag or the Foo Bar to the Red Flag, and it was still skeleton. Like the inside of the Red Flag wasn't like it looks now.
Just a warehouse, pretty much.
But it had some of these cart things up hanging, and I was like, what the fuck? It looked like a 9 Inch Nails video when I walked in there, and I was like, dude, this place is dope. And then last year in like August, the owner, my friend Robert, was he's a musician, and he's selling some of his gear. And I had seen him selling his gear, and he's like, dude, COVID's killing me, man. And I hate selling my fucking, you know, guitars. And you know, that means a lot to a motherfucker. And that you're like one step away from writing a manifesto. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
you're
no,
just
yeah,
like,
I know. He just sunk everything into that. And if he managed himself well enough to be able to do the FUBAR long enough to be able to make enough to build a whole new, fresh, new building, pretty much, and that a venue. It's a venue.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
it's
just a little
gorgeous.
bar. Yeah, it's an actual venue that'd be great for punk rock and rock and anything really. I mean, the comedy. It's
And with
there's
that,
something that, I don't know. There needs to be a way to. I don't know. And just the back when you're watching it, it's the people are so small up there on that big stage and that whole background.
okay, yeah. So like up on the balcony, from the
Yeah.
balcony, maybe in that back corner over by the office, it might look like the person's a little bit tinier. But like, dude, like
No,
people.
that's just my perception when I'm performing on that. When I
Were you on
perform on
the
that stage.
420 show?
No, no.
No,
I
you
didn't-
weren't?
Nobody reached out to me on the 420. I think
Well,
I
that's
reached out to
me,
somebody.
and I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry
all
because I
good.
don't have nobody who helps me with this shit, dude. So like, I'm the one fucking not even my girlfriend. I'm like, come on, dude, help me with this
So
shit.
what
And
is the
she's like,
name of your? What is this,
yeah,
you're doing a
have-
production?
I have no name.
No name.
No name. I just put shows on.
Just put the no name show.
The no name show.
Well, have you tried to acquire any other venues or what's going on?
So yeah, that's the other thing is I got an open mic now that I've started putting on. It's the first and third Friday of every month, and it hasn't even I still gotta wait. I'm waiting for this first Friday to roll around, and it's at the O Bar over in Madison, Illinois. So it's like right across the river, right by the racetrack, and it looks like it would be a ghetto area, but it's actually a fucking really cool little like.
I did a mic one time at this one place, and we all left and went to Shades because the parking lot filled up with some dudes that rolled up and all had like some fucking guns and shit. They
Yes.
was just out there with these rifles and these fucking AR-15s and shit. And it was like, yeah, let's go. Like we all ducked out. Zach Bukovich was there and a couple other people, and we were just all got in the back of the building. But we're like, yeah, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Like, let's go to the Shades.
Dude, what's the craziest shit that you've ever seen just happen? Like, and you weren't a part of it, but you just happened to Forrest Gump your way into that shit.
I got shit. Been in some pretty
'Cause
weird
I've Forrest
situations.
Gumped my way into a lot of fucking situations.
Yeah, I usually steer clear unless it absolutely involves me. I try to if it's not a wrecks. That's one thing I've forced my way into. If I see a wreck happen, and that's been a weirdly me and my wife gone on vacation twice, and we were driving on the highway, and one time a chick I guess was looking for her phone or something, and stopped in the middle of the highway at the middle of the night, and a van just fucking plows into her. And her
Well, why
front
would
seat,
you
her
stop
trunk.
in the middle of the
I don't know,
highway?
but when I was the first one up there, and this dude's bleeding in the van and shit, and he just keeps saying, "Why is she sitting still on the highway in the middle of the night?" I don't know what he was doing or looking for, but all this girl was worried about, as her trunk is literally right here, and her seat and the airbag's all off, and everything's crushed in it. She's like, "Can you help me find my phone?" It was one of those girls. So I don't know who's to blame, but
Good Lord.
yeah, it was gnarly. So I dealt with that. There's been a few wrecks. One right there on 141 and at 55. There was a bad one with an older lady. A group of older women were in a car, and a car ran a light, I guess, on the shit, and they got all spun around. And one of them's leg was broke. But I did the volunteer fire department back home for a very short amount of time, just because it was fun to ride in the fire truck. So I got to learn a few things. I knew to get them, sit them still, get them to set, and if you can,
Calm down.
try to get them calm down to breathe, sit them up against something, and don't let them don't let them run around and everything. Just sit still and wait on the actual EMS that's trained to do it, because their motherfuckers are more trustworthy than the some of the doctors as far as being attentive and right there on the spot take care of your ass. And doctors be like, oh, yeah, I'll check on him in a couple hours.
Dude, I was out at the Circle K out there by Northwest Library in this Mexican restaurant, like on Highway 30. And this dude caught his wife, girlfriend, I don't know what she was to him, but he was very upset. She was cheating on him in a car with some dude, and he pulled a gun out and got out of the car and just started shooting his car up, dude. And the guy drove off that was in behind the wheel of the car. And I'm assuming that he was shot, you know. But he drove off. And then, like, the people in the gas station were freaked out, you know. And I was in the middle of pumping gas and fucking... I had change that I had to get because I had put, like, 40 in the gas tank. And fucking I got, like, $35 worth of gas. And they locked the gas station down, and she was all like, I called the police, and I'm not opening the door up until the cops get here. Because, I mean, it literally happened, like, right in front of the window of the fucking gas station. And I was like, I'm not worried about it.
You're just, I figured you were that guy that just walked out, swinging. I need my change.
Yeah.
Right? And this dude's over there with the gun still, like, looking at you. You're like, I've had one of those days.
Yeah,
I've
no,
dealt
like,
with that before. I
like
know where you're
literally,
at.
I had a gun in my pocket, and I can carry, and I was just like, I'm not worried about you, dude. My gun has a lot more rounds than your little, because he had, like, a revolver. And he just popped like 3 or 4 rounds off on this bitch, and I was just like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
dude.
I would have been out though. Me and my little spark.
I was just like, "Wow, man!" And dude, the other time was I was up by Tower Grove Park, and a cop had gotten shot, and I literally just walk right up, and like everybody's freaking out, and they're fucking police lining off the road. And I'm like, what happened? And they're like, oh, a police officer got shot. A guy was held up in his house and shot the cop. So that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 2 days later, I'm on Hampton at a gas station getting gas. And I would say fucking 100 cop cars all of a sudden just block off the whole road. And then there goes the cop going by in his funeral procession. And I was just like, that's crazy. Like, I just got some Forrest Gump luck, man. I just happened to Forrest Gump my way into some shit. Like, I seen that guy.
I got stuck in Arnold on 55 when that one cop got shot in the head from Arnold.
That's my friend's fucking cousin.
He grew up in my neighborhood that I stayed at when I was living with my mom's in Shangri-La, Fenton. He grew up
So
right there.
one of my buddies that I fought as a professional fighter, Dan O'Connor. I don't know if you know who Dan O'Connor is, but he got pretty big. He was in Bellator and shit like that. And that was his cousin. And his whole family is cops. And Dan's been, like, one of the coolest friends. I mean, like, we fought.
You know the cop?
So I didn't know the cop, but I know his cousin Dan.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
Dan,
Yeah, I may know Dan then. Is he kind of the clean-cut guy, though?
if he's clean cut to you.
Is he a nice, quiet guy?
Not at all quiet.
Oh, then no, it's not
so
the same
Dan
one
is,
that I went to high school with.
Dan is bald-headed. Yeah, he's older than me, so...
yeah, probably.
And he's real, dude. So,
Yeah,
like, a lot of times in life...
No, I knew the kid that shot the cop.
Oh.
Yeah, it
So-
was bad. Like,
fuck that guy.
yeah,
man.
we all. I still don't know the full story. I believe the cop searched him and he had a gun on him, and then he had 2 guns.
He
or
had
something?
2 guns. So the cop took 1 gun, put it up, thought that was it, put him in the back of the cop car. As they were pulling into the police station, I believe, he shot him in the back of the head, in the back of the fucking cop car, right there at Arnold Police Station. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like cops.
I'm
But
not a
I
fan,
also-
but I don't believe in.
I also don't think that was right at all because, I mean, this is my buddy's family, and, like, that's just terrible.
Yeah, no.
And like, any kind of...
What he did was fucked up.
Yeah, no.
Like, period. It doesn't matter who it was. Like, that's why when I went down to the George Floyd protest or riots, is what it turned into. I went down because, like I said, I did a little bit of the volunteer fire department. I just had a few first aids, and I just got them for the company I was at because, you know, they were cheap and everything, which is weird. Now that I think about it, a bunch of them were on display, everything at Walmart. Got some of that, some eye wash, and went down there. And I stayed for a while, and it wasn't for anybody else, but like if it didn't matter who was fucked up. If the cops got fucked up, because some of them motherfuckers get fucked up too. You know, every now and again these guys get hit.
Dude, I worked at Pepper Lounge, and St. Louis has some cool ass cops, dude. Like cool cops. There's a reason why those cops don't fuck with people because they got their own shit going on.
Yeah, now the county ones, the St. Louis counties, I've had an issue with one of them that was pretty bad. Went to court, but I ended up winning. They gave me my bail money back.
Dude,
Like,
this one cop, he's like, I get a call, 2:30 in the morning. Go to the alley. Let's fuck a prostitute. He's like, and this bitch had her neck slit like a human Pez dispenser. And he starts laughing about this. That's how fucked up these people are. He's like, someone done fucked this whore and done slit her throat, and she looks
was
like
he
a
a veteran
human
from
Pez.
Afghanistan war?
Oh yeah, so he's a sergeant, and like he ended up getting cancer and passing away, but he was like a jackass. Like he was like, Gary,
know how they
he's
were.
like,
Yeah,
you got something hanging from your shirt. Nope, that's just your arm. I got you. He's like, Gary, you like Wendy's? Wendy's nuts hit your face. You want some meat?
Yeah.
You know, like just one of those guys. One-liners, stabbing you constantly, but he's a cop. And then, like, I'm out back hitting a one-hitter, and he's like, smells like weed out here. Don't think I give a fuck about that. I was just fucking with you. And I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I remember the one time I was back when I was in my blow selling days. I was riding around with this chick I had been dating for a little while, and her friend, which I knew her best friend, she was with us too, but they had another girl with us. We're riding around, they're drinking, we're doing blow. I'm selling some blow. Get out of the gas station. She goes, she didn't know I was selling blow. I just stopped at a friend's house. And when I came back out, we go to the gas station. I go in there, get some gas, come out. She's hugging a cop, another cop in an actual marked car and shit and all, like, with a wineria when those beer wine, Bud Light, those things came out or whatever.
No.
That we've been riding around slinging.
I remember those days, dude.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Your heart stopped.
What the fuck? Yeah, I've got like a couple, like, I probably got like a half
balls.
grand of blow fucking grammed out that I'm going to sell at this little bar, my little coke den that we called it. And then she gets back in the car, and I find out she's a sheriff in another county, like completely, and they're all buddies. And I'm like, but she's from there, knew all the cops there, but is living with her husband or whatever. And she's drinking, doing blow with us and everything. And I'm like,
dude, I
freaked out. I didn't freak out on her. I kept my cool throughout the ride. And then it was like, I let that girl go. I was like, I got to go. I was at my end of my coke days.
I was outside the Rock House. I don't know if you've ever been there up in St. Louis. It's a little hippie rock show place. I mean, they pretty much put on like hippie bands. And I was out there, and I was meeting a dude, and I was selling him 3 sheets of acid. And I go, and I'm fucking waiting for him. And dude pulls up, and he parks, like, catty corner from me, but, like, across from me, facing me, and flashes his headlights. And so I was like, I don't want to get out of my car and get into his car, but fuck it, dude. I'm getting ready to make a couple $100. Why not? So I get out, and I go and get in his car. And he's all like, oh, it's good. I'm like, dude, it's some flame shit, dude. I give it to him. He's like, oh, thank you, dude. Next thing I know, this dude comes up. And he's like, oh, my God, dude, you're an MMA fighter? And I was like, what? No. Because, like, all right, I didn't know this guy. He literally just come up to my passenger door and starts talking to me through the glass and shit. And I was like, do you know this guy? And he's like, oh, it's my friend. That's who I came here with. And I was like, literally, he pulled up in front of me. And
You thought you were getting trapped.
Oh, bro, it gets better. I was like, how the fuck did this guy, because the guy I was giving this L to didn't know I was an MMA fighter. Like, you keep those kind of lives separate, you know? I don't want people to be like, oh, yeah, I bought acid from that guy that's in the cage over there, you know? Like, no. So I'm like, what the fuck? Well, all of a sudden, this bitch comes around the car, and she looked familiar. And at the time, she comes up and hugged me and was like, oh, my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And I was like, oh, yeah. haven't seen you in a long time. And I was like, man, where do I know this girl from? And I'm like, in my head, replaying this whole situation over and over and over and over. And it dawned on me. I was like, that girl trained at the gym that I used to train at Burger MMA out in Valley Park. And she was a fucking St. Louis County police officer.
Is she hot, blonde?
Yes.
Dude, she came. I fucking got hit and hit a little car. Like
Her
bumped
name's
it.
Hannah.
I don't know, but she was
McNutt, I think.
I had to go through all my papers.
But so her sister, they're twins, all right? And these girls were Pentecostal, right, in the beginning. Right? When they came to the gym, when Dad brought her into the gym, he didn't want her training MMA because she couldn't wear her culottes, because that's what like Pentecostals wear when they're doing sports and shit. It's like a under the dress type deal. And it, MMA is a pretty close thing,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. There's a reason they use singlets in wrestling.
You know what I mean?
Like,
Like, so
get the point of them.
I'm at home when this clicks in my head. I was like, you just sold 3 sheets of fucking LSD to a goddamn cop, Gary Becker. You're going to prison.
Yeah.
You are fucking done, bro. And I was like, no. I was so mad, dude. I was like walking around my apartment and I'm like, motherfucker, dude, you done did it. You done did it. You fucked up, buddy. And so I hit up dude and I was like, hey, man, do you think I'm stupid? And he was like, what? And he's like, dude. And so this guy ends up robbing one of my friends, and he ends up being a big piece of shit. And I never fucked with him again.
So he wasn't really associated with her, I guess.
She apparently really did just not become a cop or some shit. And because she's still in the fucking hippie scene. And, like, she, I guess, just stopped being a cop and just so happened to go a different route. Because her sister is a doctor, right? And that was my argument. I was like, look, dude, your twin sister becomes a doctor and you didn't become a cop? No, fuck that, all right? Yeah. But she works at, like, the Liquid Lace Lounge on fucking Hampton or some shit like that.
Although this is at the chick I was talking about, because this was a couple years back, I got hit and I got rear-ended right at a light. Right there from Valley Park, coming right where Bobby's is, at that light going on to 141.
That's where the gym was.
Yeah, I got tapped, and then there was a van right in front of me, and I was in my big. I was doing lawn fertilizer, so I had a big huge tank of water, like 100-gallon tank of like shit in the back of this little truck, and it fucking splashed me forward, and I just barely tapped a AT&T guy. The guy that hit me flew all around and everything. But since
who caused it?
The guy behind me that hit me first. But it was right when the light turned green, so I just let off my foot off the brake. So it was just perfect. I was just getting ready to go, and this guy just hit me enough to make that water splash forward to where I couldn't stop the truck, just enough to tap this guy's shit. So we went up there and pulled up and called the police, and she, like the cameras are out there. They fucking seen everything and tried. I don't know if they ever caught the guy, but yeah, all I got was not.
Oh, you drive off?
Yeah.
Oh man, dude.
I didn't have a license then, like at the time, because long story short, I had a pot charge when I was 17 or 18 on the Virginia Beach boardwalk. I went and took care of everything, but the paperwork never got shifted over to the DMV properly.
So you pulled over and you didn't have a license?
Yeah. I was like, I called everybody, stashed all the drugs in the bushes at the hotel, because I had a bunch of dads with me, a propane torch, all kinds of shit.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I stashed all that before the cops got there, and called my boss, was like, yeah, I'll just leave this shit in the parking lot and you can pick it up later if they take me in. But no, they just gave me a non-operator's license. Operators, whatever. I mean, I don't know the laws like a good lawyer, but I've got a good lawyer.
AT&T would have been sitting there. I'd have been like, yep, time to go. I don't deal with the cops.
I could have ran too. I could have easily ran. I think I seen that on the cameras, because like we drove off and like I could have, there's 2 exits to get on the highway. I could have bloop real quick. There was no name on the side of the truck.
On your way to Rolla in seconds.
Yeah, so I was just...
Here come Pacific.
Yeah, but I figured best not. So I just did it. And then, yeah, she let me leave. She's like, because I didn't like have a suspended license. It didn't show up as anything as a suspended. It just said I didn't have a license. And I had my North Carolina state ID still then. So I believe, yeah. And that's kind of like, I don't know what that has to do with any of the law. Yeah,
It is kind of like that, though.
But my wife, I hired a lawyer to try to get me this license back. I tried to turn myself in when I went to go to do my sister's wedding years ago. I tried to go turn myself into the magistrate to take care of all this because it said I had an outstanding warrant and shit. And it's like, no, I paid everything. Everything was taken care of. Because I remember the lady that I had like this lady that I rented the house from, the room out of the house, and she was like the mom. I mean, she wasn't my mom or anything like that, but she was just the older lady that was like responsible. She ran her own little artsy crafty store, and I gave her the money to pay with a credit card online. And I watched her do it, so I knew it was all taken care of. But I was young, like 18, didn't take care, no paperwork. So 27 years later, I mean, 10 years later, 10, 11 years later, Jules finally, after hiring a lawyer, putting a fucking $1,200 retainer fee on, she was pregnant and was on leave, and I couldn't get a hold of her when I go to turn myself in because she couldn't figure out how to fix it. Somehow my wife figured it out, gets the magistrate and the DMV on the phone at the same time, the heads, the two, and find out that there was just a glitch or something in the computer, and I've basically been driving around that whole time with illegally, and I knew it. I always knew
for
I
no
was.
reason.
Yeah, it made me a really good driver. Like,
Oh, yeah, it did.
I never had any other tickets.
Going from Colorado to St. Louis running fucking pot made me a good driver. Like, literally, I have ice water that runs through my veins. Like, we could literally have a goddamn any kinds of cop behind us, and I wouldn't say a goddamn word to you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't drive any different than what I was driving. I would do about 5.
You tell them a motherfucker in a car, and you can tell how stupid they are real quick because they do that.
Oh, I hate that.
It's
You
like,
don't
the motherfucker.
ever do that. And if I have a passenger in my car and they see a cop and then they're like, dude, cop. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, you stupid motherfucker.
I'm at the age now. I ain't got no reason to worry about it.
Yeah,
I got
mean,
weed on me. What's up? Yeah, I don't have my. I have my fucking medical marijuana special agent ID hanging right there in my fucking shit. So I ain't really worried about it. They asked me if I got weed. Yeah, I don't have the medical card or the receipt for the weed I got on me, but give me my ticket. Let me go.
Yeah.
They
literally don't give a shit really anymore.
I don't know about here because I keep a low rate. I don't do anything illegal anymore.
Yeah, and neither do I. Don't think I do.
But I did. I was running like when they finally caught me the first time for some stupid shit that the people. I had a house on the beach, my first beach house, and it was like 3 bedrooms, and we all rented rooms basically and threw in, but it was in my name. And they got busted going out stealing tourists' surfboards and little skimboards and stuff that they would leave on the beach right in front of their cottages. And then got busted selling this shit and putting their name and my address, the address they were staying at, his house. And so I would never come and answer them when they wanted to question me. I was like, fuck that. I actually hid underneath a futon when they came to search the house for me and shit. And they came twice. The first time they came and they asked for my first name. And they're like, Tom Williford? Then they're like, we don't know no fucking Tom or Williford. Like, so I got away that time. And then they came back like a couple hours later. And I was, my buddy was sleeping in the room because it was a little later at night. And was like, I crawled in between the mattresses and underneath this futon thing we had. And they never found me. And we played cat and mouse for like 2 years. Like I would just stay away. I never got caught, and then boom, they finally got me, and they tried to hit me with all kinds of charges. But my lawyer, as soon as I got a lawyer, he's like, they can't hit you nothing with possession of stolen goods. And I was like, and they're like, your friends have already said that it wasn't you. You worked a full-time job, like you.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got a pretty strong case. You never had any charges of any kind of theft or anything.
Yeah,
your friends have taken the fucking shit. And we thought we were going to get it out all of it. And he's like, a misdemeanor possession of stolen goods. I was like, I really don't want that charge. I don't want that charge on my shit. And he's like, man, so your neighbor could throw stolen shit over your fence into your backyard. And if it's worth enough money, they can fuck you. And these kids had a lot of surfboards. Like,
And
they
those
they
are
hit the
expensive.
Volcom surf team that was staying at the hotel because they started hitting hotel parking lots. And they hit this fucking, I think it was the Volcom team surf team. And it was just like,
Grabbing everybody's boards and shit.
yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I surfed the fuck out of some of them boards. You know, there was some nice ass boards.
Yeah, it's one thing I haven't gotten to do is go surfing yet.
Oh, man, it's really a
And
thrill.
skydiving. And I plan on doing some skydiving.
I want to do that, but it scares the fuck out of me.
Skydiving?
Yeah.
Dude,
Surfing scares the shit out of me too because the ocean scares the fuck out of me.
The one thing about skydiving that scares me is the fact that I have a super addictive personality. And I don't have the bank account for that kind of fucking.
It's huge back on the beach I grew up on. We have OBX dive and everything. We have right there. The Outer Banks is famous for the Wright brothers, the people that flew the first
Who the fuck were those guys?
The guys that
Eric, right?
I don't even Orville and Wilbur Wright.
Redenbacher. Orville Redenbacher. He made popcorn.
Yeah, man. Popcorn.
Right,
With some hot sauce.
That's fake news.
No,
man.
that's the wrong
It
brothers.
was Charles Lindbergh.
Was that
it was the Spirit of St. Louis. No.
Don't they have? Is it? No, that was way after the Wright brothers.
Oh yeah, way.
They made like duck canvas fucking wings and shit out of wood,
out of skeleton fucking bones and shit.
But that's what we are famous for. And then the hill, the memorial's on this huge sand dune hill, and you can.
Was
break
that the
in
hill
it.
that they come flying off of or something?
Yeah, I believe that's where they like kind of launched.
Because it was more like a glider.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
and
with
you
a couple
you used to
propellers
be able to take a class, I believe, to where they would teach you to throughout the summer. You would rebuild one, and then you got to like fly it. And a woman flew it in the woods, the smallest little patch of woods. Couldn't go towards the fucking ocean, big ass ocean. We're a small sandbar, only little patch of woods on the whole sandbar.
Spencer
breaks her back.
Spencer Tagmeyer with his "a woman's work is never done." That's why you never hire a woman.
Dude, his shit is like.
I love it.
Mind blowing.
I love
sometimes.
it.
Like that bugles, a bald eagle with bugles on his fingers, jerking off. Oh my god, that shit cracks me up.
I love his shit, but like, dude, like,
you rub one out
at the show that I had him on. The last show I had him on, he told those jokes, and it was a pretty one-sided crowd. And they were not on the side of the fence that Spencer hangs out on, and that we hang out on. All right. So, like, they were like...
You didn't have Adam Thacker on the same show, did you?
No, I need to get Adam on a show, because I love
great.
Adam.
Yeah,
and he doesn't work enough in this town, you know? Like, he should get a lot more work than what he does. But, like, so, like, he literally is just, like, telling his shit, and, like, there's a group, you know, like, there's all different people in the crowd, but there's, like, a table of girls that were just making out. And it wasn't like there was like, oh, dude, check those girls out over there making out. It was just like, really, dude?
Was it like, check those dudes out? Like,
yeah,
it's fine.
So like, I was up there and I was on stage and like I talked to each table individually. Like, and it's not that I'm like, hey, you right there, listen to this. I got this fucking joke for you.
Yeah.
And no, I don't do that. But like, literally, I will tell a joke, and like when I'm telling the joke, I will stay right there, and I'll talk to a table, and then I move to the other side of the room, and I'll tell a joke to another table, and I just kind of look at them, and it's just kind of like a thing that like
connects you to the crowd,
connects you in the crowd, makes you feel like they were, you know,
relate better. Yep.
And then maybe they'll follow you or something afterwards, you know, or some shit. And I fucking am doing that. And literally, like, at the beginning, I'm the host. So I'm the very first fucker on the stage. And I'm up there and I'm looking. And literally, there is a table with girls. And the one girl's got her leg up on the other girl. And they're just like... And I'm like, what? And I'm just like, okay. So I'll go to the next table.
Wash your hands, as they say at the word hub.
No face mask, fucking needed here.
See, y'all ain't worried about COVID.
Yeah, and
a few good jokes there.
Oh yeah, there was a lot. And I was just like, wow, you know. But I just appreciate people coming out and spending their money to come and watch comedy because it's awesome.
Did they come to watch comedy or did they come to come?
They spent money, all right. So they came in and paid like, and we did good, you know.
What
like
is that? What's what's that fetish? Where they like to do it in public and do
oh
shit.
man, I don't
You
even
know,
know. There's that. I'm sure
it's
it
a
is.
thing that
Yeah.
turns. Yeah, they go out in public and do it in front of people and
Dude,
shit.
there's all fetish. People are weird, man. You know, there's all kinds of fucking. Even when you think you've heard the weirdest shit.
Yeah, I know how weird I am. I
Dude.
see my fucking recommendeds.
Dude, my girlfriend has a friend that she's wanting to go help out, and this girl is up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and she's known this girl for years, and they've been friends. Well, this girl's gotten involved in some drugs, and she was, I guess, a call girl for a second, you know, and she's like, I shit in people's mouth for $1,000, and I've done it quite frequently, and all this shit, and
Can I talk to your boss?
I was like,
Like 1,000? Like I got you.
$1,000.
I even stick to a diet. What you want?
I'm like, this is fucked up, man. I was like, just when you think you've heard it all, like, and that's something that she's like telling Lisa to try to get her. She's like, I got to get out of this town. You know,
You gotta get away from the people that have you in it. If you don't, you feel like when you get to that point that you're just stuck in that, to where if you don't get away from those people, like fully disconnected from that scene, to where you don't know somebody that can get you that scene, just like drugs. If you get away from your dealer and you don't go out and try to meet a new dealer, in which then how are you gonna get them? Like,
yeah.
So
And this girl, she's all like, I gotta get if you bring me to St. Louis, I gotta live near a methadone clinic. And I was like, what? People still take methadone? Holy shit! I thought that shit had already been canceled because it's Suboxone. I thought took over for that, and then Suboxone got taken over by that shot. So there's a shot that they give you now that stops opioids, and it works for like 2 months, and it really
Is it an opioid blocker?
Yeah, it blocks.
Yeah, the same pharmaceutical company that makes those makes the fucking opiates that they got them addicted to.
Yeah,
it's
I
crazy.
doubt that
Same
shit.
thing with the Narcan. Like
Yeah.
they're like, we don't want you to die. Keep taking them fucking opiates.
No, man, it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like this girl doesn't want to come, and she wants to get away from that town, but it seems like every town that this girl's gone to, she's had the same problem, man.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you're just gonna bring her here? And she's like, I just don't want her to die. And I was like, well, it seems like that's the way she's heading. It just doesn't matter what town she's at, you know. Like,
yeah, you got kids in your household.
oh yeah, no, she ain't coming to my house. No, she's like gonna let her stay at her mom's house. And her mom.
I've tried to do it, man. I've tried so many times to be like help friends and stuff.
can't.
And I've had one or two that did very well by positioning themselves, but then again, I've had them like just take advantage most of the time, and then they just ended up doing worse. And it was a burned bridge for a while until I got to the point to where it was like some petty shit like that ain't worth a relationship, a friendship.
I had a friend literally detox off of heroin in my basement, and then became the best fighter in the state of Missouri in 2 different weight classes. You know, and like.
He couldn't get enough fucking goddamn dopamine. He's like, just punch me. That's the only way I can get
Dude,
it. It's
he
like
was
tattoo.
so
Like
sick.
a lot of addicts that like get off of heroin go and get just like Laura. I think her name. I don't want to fuck it up and get but canceled.
Laura Croft.
From the Against
Tomb
Me.
Raider.
No, Against Me. There's a first celebrity transgender way before Caitlyn.
From Against Me.
Yeah, the punk rock band Against Me. Tom Gable was, I think, their name before, and then I think it's Laura something now. But she goes and gets she's got black squares on her body from where she'll just go under the needle for hours before the dopamine rush. The dopamine,
Dude, when I went
to
to
help her depression too.
I went to that tattoo convention out there in Springfield.
You might have addictive personality. You know?
Oh yeah, a little bit. But dude, like, it was so crazy. So have you ever seen like the suspension hooks?
Oh yeah, no, the neighbor had I've seen those people.
So these people, like not these people, because they become my friends now.
They're,
And they could be watching
I was
this.
cool with the neighbor. We were like real cool, but
So-
I didn't go to his hook hanging exhibitions or whatever they're called.
So I'm not outside of that. Like I'm not saying that I want to do that, but I'm not saying if the right fucking person was like, Gary, you should do this, and I'll suck your dick, and I'd be like, well, what did you just say?
Yeah. I'd have
Put
to.
those hooks in my back, bitch. You know, like
Yeah,
not
I'm
really.
sitting here running through my head like, who's hot enough at this point?
No,
Maybe at 21, definitely still had the fucking
so,
cock
like,
strength to do it.
It is just like I really don't. That's how I got my dick pierced. Is I got fucking peer pressured into that situation. Like I didn't go in there thinking like I'm getting ready to get my dick stabbed. No, never. Not even thought crossed my mind. I went in the tattoo shop thinking that I'm gonna surprise my girlfriend and get her septum pierced. And we walk in, and my buddy's the tattoo or the piercing guy. And he's been for like a year or so since he's been at this shop, like trying.
And he's seen your dick plenty of times. It was time for him to touch it.
Yeah, he's like Gary, because I always talk shit like, dude, I'd get my dick pierced, and he's like, yeah, a lot of people say that shit, you know, because I'm sure that he probably hears it. It's just like when you tell people that you were a stripper, and then like everybody's like, yeah, dude, I could have been a stripper. I'm like, nah, you probably couldn't have, because I was doing it at 30. Like most guys at 30 years old aren't good enough looking anymore to be getting naked in front of a group of people and getting money, you know? So, like, this is the same way with that shit, you know? It's just like...
My father, my real dad I think he started in his 40s, his late 40s, got his shit pierced. And, like, he's got a few piercings down there.
Dude,
So like, you know what? First thing I want to say is, Lisa, if this is what this man's got to do just to get a piece, like if I went and hooked up with a chick and she's like, look, we can definitely get down, but I'm gonna need you to hang yourself from these hooks and pierce your dick. I'm like, oh man, can we just like do dinner in a movie instead? Like,
that doesn't
this
work
is a little
for her.
bitch. I'm sorry. All right.
She's just like, look, are you wanting to go down the throat or not? No, like, so like, yeah,
I need a ribbed man.
I got peer pressured into it, and then she broadcast it on Facebook. Literally went live and videotapes my dick. So like I had a million.
You almost became a new Jackass star.
Yeah. So like I fucking am in my mind's going in a million different places, and I'm not thinking about the fact that my girlfriend's over here videotaping me. I really just not even thought about it. Just thinking about the fact that
what else could you think about? Your
my
penis.
dick's going in my friend's hand. You know, my buddy. It'd be literally like
that's what you were worried about. Not that the
weird,
needle
right?
in his hand. Was
I don't give a fuck about the needle. I'm diabetic. I get stabbed by needles every day. You know,
but that's a hollow needle that's going to take a big chunk of homeboy that's you've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
You know that chunk's been around.
Then after he pierced it with the needle, he takes it and he slaps it on the tray, and the chunk of my dick goes out onto the fucking metal tray, and he's like, there you go, bro, that's your dick right there. And I was like, whoa, man, whoo, sheesh. You know, so like I fucking don't pee half that day.
Didn't you have to do it erected too?
And you know, it's cold in that room, so
it was cold.
and that's why that's why it was like, dude, it was like in the basement of the tattoo shop, and then it's cold in there because they just opened. I was like their very first customer of the day.
Yeah,
and
brand new AC unit.
What? Yeah, brand new. Just charged that shit.
Just put the free
R34A, you know, and fucking. So
crackheads haven't stole it yet. All right,
no one's popped the copper, you know. So it was a bitter cold day. You know, and I
bitter. I don't know if those are the best words to explain this day.
Yeah, and you know, I'm a bit of a grower and not a shower in this situation. So but for real, if
2 inches at 200 miles an hour will kill any man.
Yeah, exactly.
So Lisa, that makes you Wonder Woman. All right.
And if you put yourself into my shoes, and you know, like I walked in there not planning on getting anything like this done, and then get peer pressured into it, your dick knows, dude. Your dick is a part of you just as much as it like gets big when a pussy or some hot chicks around. It knows when it's getting ready to get stabbed.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, hold on a second. So
I thought we were cool.
Is whatever. And it got pierced, and then I didn't pee for half the fucking day, and we went out to eat, and we're at a restaurant, and I was like, dude, I gotta go pee, and I went in the bathroom, and I turned it.
Was it like the first time you jerked off with soap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
like
God.
I turned it, and when I turned it, I started to pee, and a little clump of blood comes out plunk, into the toilet, but it was like coagulated blood, like plunk, right into the toilet, and then a fountain of blood. Like I pissed blood, like not light colored blood. No, this was blood. This was like a stream of blood was coming out of my dickhole, and I almost fainted in the toilet. You know what I mean?
I gotta sit down.
I did, bro. I sat down, dude. Dirt dick out. Sat down Indian style in this fucking public restroom, and there's people in the bathroom, like going in the.
I couldn't have done it, no. Because my first time with just soap was like, my mom's was on the other side of the door. Like, what is it? What is it? They thought I dropped the toilet seat on my shit again.
Like, you gotta get that motherfucker away from there. Oh, dude. So, like, I'm about to faint. So I sat down, and I was so lightheaded, and I'm looking in the toilet, and I'm looking at all these pubes and shit, because it shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be sitting in front of the toilet Indian style and shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like bare ass on the fucking ground because I don't piss, like I guess I piss like a 8-year-old,
Just piss everywhere. Bloody piss. They're like, what's going on? Is he giving birth?
Yeah, so like I'm just like, motherfucker, dude. So like I called Lisa and I'm like, hey, dude. I was like, this shit is. I probably need a man pond or something. I probably need to stick like a cotton, like a Q-tip up my dick hole or something.
First fucking STD checkup. No one warned me on that one, dude. What a cotton ball will do to a man. Just
I
that
hate
Q-tip.
cotton.
Yeah,
Hate it.
Lady knew what she was doing too, because she knew I wasn't prepared. When she said drop,
and you were
her
probably
drawers.
just a young kid, like
yeah, she had me. The rest of it was like right by the bed, where I had these two sides, and she said, "Okay, come over here." And there was like the cabinets in the doctor's office, with the sink and everything. Had me in that corner, and then put her arm up to where I couldn't get away, and grabbed my shit with the other one.
You
and
should have
hit
been
me
like,
with
"This
that.
is exactly why I'm here."
I was like,
I was raped,
and
man.
all I could do was like grab her shoulders and go, "Oh."
I don't know if I'm into this.
No, I wasn't. I was quite upset that the chick,
cubes.
that the reason I was there was for chlamydia. And I was like, man, she already tested positive. Just give me the pill. Like, I don't need to take the test too.
I'm leaking, lady. And it's not you.
Yeah, she gave me the pill. She said, you may feel it. I was like, I won't feel anything that's going to compare to what I just went through, ma'am.
My brother tested positive for syphilis, right? And he lived at my house, and the way they told him, so he went to the hospital, and then they send 2 ladies to your house, and they have an envelope, and it says call St. Louis or St. Anthony's Hospital. And my mom was living with me, and so like my mom is actually my aunt that adopted me and my brother whenever we were little kids. My brother's like 10 and I was like 5. And so my aunt was staying with me, and she had a stroke and an aneurysm, so she's in a wheelchair, and she sees these 2 ladies show up to the door. Now, mind you, this woman has also seen her sister die, and like she's probably seen the kind of shit like they show up to your house, like, oh, yeah. So she's like, oh my God, Gary, he's got cancer. And so she's just pretty much waiting for one of us to have cancer, because my mom died like when I was 5 from cancer. So she's probably like, Gary's got it, like, and so she's like,
God couldn't be that bad. Diabetes and cancer.
You son of a bitch. Yeah. Don't put that on me, Brad.
God, the real son of a bitch, eh? So, look at what they're doing in the Holy Land.
Yeah, Israel's fucking shit.
I don't know what's going on. They're like at the show. I was doing a little crowd work, and someone I cracked a joke, and I was like, we'll just wait on them to stop throwing rocks before I crack that joke. And I'm like, I'm not talking about that. There's someone yelled out, do it. I was like, I don't know. 70 years, they still can't figure this shit out. I was like, we were taught in school not to to use our words. They haven't been able to use the words. No one gets it.
Dude.
Take it away. We're taking Israel away. The whole thing, they got to go somewhere else. Bye.
These fucking ladies, they gave this card, and it has my brother's name on the front of it. And my mom's like, I got his social security number. Call him. Tell him you're him. See what's up. Because he was out whoring. So, like, he
was
would
just throwing that syphilis everywhere.
Yeah, so, like, he was just, like, a fat girl whore. So, like, he loves big girls. Like, and big girls love him, and he just would go and bang all these fat bitches all over. And, like, that's what he was doing. And so...
He's that one guy that's, like, so happy to be on the moped in traffic. Just
oh,
like,
dude.
You guys are stuck with me.
He literally, right after this, gets with a millionaire... fat girl that's like 400 pounds, but she is, you know, she's a millionaire and buys him everything. Buys him a lifted Chevy Silverado, decked out, brand new that year, everything, you know.
He Britney Spears her.
Yeah, so
Kevin, what's his name?
K-Fed her ass.
He's another hang his jersey next to K-Fed.
But dude, so they like I call this number. And my mom's like, here, you know, and tell him, here's this. They don't give a fuck about that. I just called and was like, hey, my name's Henry Reed. And she's like, Mr. Reed? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, Mr. Reed, you have syphilis. And I was like, oh,
this motherfucker got syphilis.
Shit. And she's like, oh, shit. And I was like, yeah, oh, shit.
I was like, so do I need to get penicillin? What are we getting here?
And so... she goes, Mr. Reed, how many women have you had sexual contact with? And I was like, I don't have a clue. And she's like, Mr. Reed. And she said, Mr. Reed, how do you meet these women? I said, well, I get on the internet and I look for women with no self-esteem and morals. And I swear I said this to this lady.
She said, what time? I'll be off at 8. You want to get dinner?
I thought that was you, Mr. Reed.
There's a bit. That's a bit. That's a bit for you there.
And like, so she's like, I was like, yeah, I have no clue, you know. And she's like, well, you've got to know. What are their names? And I knew one girl that he had slept with, and it was my buddy's sister. And I only knew that because me and my buddy were close, and his sister is a big fatty, and fucking he is like, he was in Effingham, Illinois at the time, and I had just talked to him. And so my brother all of a sudden has to go help Justin. He's like, hey, I got to help Justin. Can you give me a ride over to Justin's house? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to jump in the shower real quick. I'm going to help him work on his car. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not stupid.
He's going to be giving the ride soon.
But why in the fuck would you go get in the shower before you go work on a car? So I don't call him out on nothing, right?
Look, I know I look like this, but I thought you knew me, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I go, and I'm literally in front of Justin's house, and Justin's car's not there. And he's jumped out of the car. He smells like Adidas moves because he's that trashy.
And then before, but that was upgraded from Axe, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, like he's got the fresh Adidas
put the fresh
moves.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
on.
the Axe is for the skinny girls.
Yeah, for those bus stop skank hoes.
Yeah. And so he goes to jump out of the car, and he's all excited. He's like, yeah, man, see you later, dude. And I was like, hey, man, have a good time fucking Justin's sister. And he was like,
stop dead track, like, with it. Hey, man.
And he looked at me, and he's all like, I'm helping Justin. And I was like, Justin's in Effingham, Illinois, bro. I just talked to Justin. Have a good time, bro. Shut my door. And he shuts the door, and he's just like, oh, he knew. And he's my older brother, but I've always been his guardian. Like, I've always taken care of him. He's always been my dude. And I just, we were orphans together, and like he
and
just.
How long from this point did he fuck her from knowing about the syphilis call?
Oh, like 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
This is
perfect.
the girl that he had gotten syphilis from. So he had figured that out too after this. So I tell the lady from the health department.
So she was patient zero.
I was like, well, because I knew one girl that he had slept with, but literally I didn't know the other ones because he was being a fat whore, and I was just like, yeah, her name's Samantha Bush, and he's like, or she's like, okay, thank you. I gave her an address.
Hang on, I'm looking at his plentyofwhales.com account.
Yes.
I'm going.
And so fucking, She goes, or they go to her house, right? And like, I talked to her because literally, like, she worked at Shop and Save in Fenton in the deli, and fucking,
it's a Shooks now.
yeah. So it
I
changed.
can't
to
believe
Schnucks.
that. I just found that out.
And so she's like, she's in there, and she's fucking like, dude, your brother told the fucking health department that. Where the fuck I live. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, that motherfucker gave me syphilis. And I was like, oh. Well, yeah, I mean, it was me that told the health department where you live because you were the only person. And I told her the story. I was like, look, my mom was like, Henry's got cancer. You have to call that number. Because the last thing that you were thinking it was going to be syphilis. You know, you don't think that they're going to be
So
like,
she's like, your mom's like, you got to commit HIPAA violations and...
Commit some crimes here, son. Let's do this together. I have his social security number. You know, I've been holding on to this in case I want a credit card one.
Yeah.
But this shit was hilarious. And like, I call him, you know, and I'm like, Henry, bad news, bro. He's like, what? Make it quick. I was like, okay, well, you got syphilis. I was like,
I can just imagine your brother smashing out getting ready to smash out some chick, and he's already contemplating on a condom, and he's like, pulls it out all slow.
He's like,
all right, thanks, bye.
He's like, what? And I was like, dude, you got syphilis. And he's like, how do you know that? And I was like, well, I fucking had the health department just show up to the fucking house. Like 2 ladies dressed like fucking candy stripers showed up knocking on the goddamn door. And I answered it, and they're like, is Henry Reed here? Hand me this envelope. And mom told me to call it, dude. You know how mom is. And I called the fucking number, and they told me that you had syphilis. And he's like, oh my God, dude, fuck. That explains the bump, dude. And I was like, what? He's like, dude, I had this bump that was like right outside my hairline. And it was like, I thought it was an ingrown hair, you know? So I popped it. And that thing got big, dude. And I was like, oh.
Like that dang cook joke where you just pull it aside. Just pull we'll fuck anything.
Jesus. I never heard that.
Yeah, he's talking about his chick. He's like, you got herpes on that side? Let's just pull that to the side and I'll fuck around it. That guy and that group and your friends.
Jeez. And so he was like, okay. I was like, I got the number. They want you. They actually think you already have talked to them.
Yeah, I've already set you up an appointment.
Yes, and I did. And he's like, what? And I was like, well, it gets worse.
I had a date that night.
And he's like, how does it get worse? And I was like, well, she asked me how many women you had slept with. And I said, I have no clue. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, well, I don't know. I was like, I'm supposed to lie, inflate or deflate your numbers, and then you show up and you got to give them a list of people you slept with, and it's more or less than what I've told them. I said, so I just told him I don't know, and I just meet girls online.
I know your standards, so.
And I swear, I literally told him I just meet women on the internet that have no self-esteem and no morals. And she goes, Mr. Reed!
She put on the paperwork, use larger needle.
Biggest epidural is that.
COVID-19 subject.
It's just like, so he goes there, and he was like, bro, I don't know what you said to those people, but they were like really mad at me. And they were like, and like my brother is not all there. He's like, he has autism, and like he
like the genius autism, like Elon Musk.
So like
and those,
he knows cars.
Those guys are
my
just
brother's
geniuses.
My brother's just about cars. So like if it isn't about cars, and don't talk about cars around my brother, because it's just like all my friends know, like I don't care if you pull up in a goddamn Lamborghini. Don't talk about it. No. Just don't. Unless you want to be involved into a 5-hour conversation about like the motor,
car salesman,
every tire, and fucking, you know, like the valve stem. Yeah, he knows everything about a car, but how to put one together, and like I mean, he might be able to do that, but he can take it apart.
Yeah, I can take them apart. My buddy Kent is a BMW was BMW. I think he's been got pulled to do got a promotion over and went to Lexus or somebody. But yeah, you get to doing the Cho Chain and at the time, and you start talking about cars, and because he's always gonna somehow just shift it over to cars, and he's the guy with the polo and the golfing hat,
Yeah.
and the yeah,
You're just like, come on, man.
yeah, it's 812, but yeah, and it's just everything. He knows it all. I don't think he knows how to work on them at all, but he sells them. So it sounds like your brother should get into that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is like, I get him gigs where it's like a job where it is round cars, and then he overtalks those people to where they're like, dude, if you overtalk a car guy, it's just like, dude, like, okay, I get it, man. Like, I always just tell my friends, just don't do it, like, unless you're ready to be it's like talking chemtrails, with my fucking 13-year-old. You start talking that with my son, and my son's going to give you an hour-long speech about how...
I was just telling my old lady, it's TikTok is making some conspiracy theories out there. Like kids, like these new conspiracy. And I get it. Some of the stuff, they're stumbling on some shit that I'm like, oh, young grasshopper. It's like,
Yeah.
Especially anything that has to do with how fucked up our government is and the shit that just steadily comes out about them as far as the experiments that they do on us. And that's why many people are so hesitant with the vaccine and COVID, and it's just they're so sketchy, especially in the Black and Latino community, because they've done some shit. They've got a reason to. A lot of people's grandparents were part of that chemical fucking shit they were spraying all over them right downtown St. Louis.
Yeah.
There's still people alive probably from they were doing that. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
now they're like, they can't keep that kind of thing secret nowadays. They didn't keep it secret back then. Like they just didn't talk about it, just like we don't today.
Dude, to get onto the show thing about that fucking roast battle, because I got to get out of here soon because I got to go pick up my old lady. But
Is she back at the house yet? The social house?
No, they ain't opened yet.
No.
So she is at Salo's, the restaurant that I beat that guy up at.
She's still there?
Yeah, she still works there.
I'll have to go to that. I haven't been to that social house yet. I want to when it opens back up, but
When
it have to be a
it's
night that
looking-
it's not your old lady's not working there, because I can't be like staring at your old lady's tits. Like,
Oh yeah, she's got nice tits though.
I'm sure. That's one thing great about Jules is like they're not huge, but they're just like they just movie star titties. Like they're just perfect little dimples,
Yeah, dude. But back on this show, the roast battle, because if I don't get out of here and talk about this, I feel like I fucked up today. But like, yeah, dude. So we got the roast battle championships coming to town, and like this is like a big deal, dude. Like, and like it's got a lot of shit that you can't talk about, but you gotta talk about. But it's just like, how do you talk about it?
Yeah.
Other than the fact that you just gotta be there, Like it's one of those things. Like if you had a chance to be a part of Facebook when it took off and be a guy in the beginning, you would have done that. If you had a chance to be a part of anything that is in its infancy, and this is in its infancy, but it's got a chance to blossom into.
It's got the right connections to it to become something.
It's working in the right angles, and it's going in the right shit
for a lot of people.
And the way St. Louis is gonna work, dude, is I've put together a lineup of the fucking coolest judges, and like I'm paying for these fuckers to come in and be guest judges, and a couple of them haven't responded back to me yet.
I'd be one of those.
And like, no, these guys are like Dan Marcella from Story of the Year. Okay. And I've reached out to him on three different market areas. He's a friend of mine, but he hasn't opened up my message. Like and it's not just a Facebook friend. Like if we see each other out, he'd give me a hug. You know what I mean? Like so.
Well, you gotta think of how many messages those guys get.
Oh yeah, and he's got so much going on. And then we got Clownvis Presley. I don't know if you ever heard of Clownvis, but Clownvis is huge. He was on America's Got Talent. He's a St. Louis guy. He dresses up as a clown and Elvis, And he's huge, dude. He's got a big following. He's got a once a week show every Friday. He's got a show on YouTube where he's just like it's like a almost like a podcast, but he has like it's weird.
Yeah.
But he's cool, dude.
That's
and so
weird
like
is unique, and unique is what.
Yeah,
like,
we're just
niches are where
we're
it's at.
putting together like our judge lineup would be enough to bring people in there. You know what I mean? And that's all I want is because like beyond the comics that I want to show up and show out in the good ones.
What about this show? It's gonna be in a cage and shit. It's gonna be like an actual
So
cool ass setup, and like
it's gonna be unlike anything that we've
to be
ever.
recorded, and it'll be getting out there to a lot of people in the world.
Yeah, and the opportunity for you to really make a name for yourself and to put something into your credentials is there. You know what I mean?
And it's free, and you can win money.
Yeah, and what have you got to lose? There's nothing lost wise, and other than maybe you might get ripped. You know, it's a roast. You know? So I'm low hanging fruit. I am. You know, someone wants to say some shit, I'm pretty easy to attack. You know, and I don't care. It's to me an opportunity, and you're not gonna shut a door on me and not think I'm not gonna try to come through it. You know, and it's just like.
The only thing I don't like is I don't mind being roasted. Joke me all day. I grew up as the pinkest one in the household pretty much. I've been roasted a lot in my life. I hate looking embarrassing because my jokes suck when I'm a roast, you know. I just don't write good jokes to roast people. But I'd never really tried. Like,
so
I had a week to prepare for the one I did.
The way it works with it is it's like, you know, they give you a month out. So you find out your opponent. And if you don't want, say you have somebody that you don't like, say fucking, I don't know, like Pat Ryan. Say Pat Ryan, you know, you just want to call out somebody. We'll do some low hanging fruit, you know. And Pat Ryan, you know, we call out Pat Ryan. And you're like, hey, man, I think chicken strips suck. All right, like.
Good burger is shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about that burger.
Yeah. And I went to your favorite.
We might be, you better be careful.
I'm just
You're
saying.
touching some sensitive subjects.
So say that's someone that you want to call out. And, you know, you just sit him with it, you know, and that'll be your first round opponent. And say he has, you know, 48 hours to respond. And then we'll make like a WE event out of this, you know, to where like you call him out, he fucking makes a video and responds to the call out, and you know, then we put it on the poster, on the flyer, and we work it, and you know, hey, I got a month to prepare jokes to go against, you know, so and so, and that's awesome. That format.
So you're putting a little bit of a story into, not so much a story, but a conflict, like you're putting something in the beginning.
Build it up, you know, hype this shit up,
like
and you know the idea and the concept behind this whole show is the UFC. So like the way that the Dana White brought it in the market, and when he watched it, it was originally in a tournament, and you know you would fight 3 fights in one night. And by the end of the night, you were fucking destroyed. And, you know, you would go into the ring and you're the third fight. And fucking it didn't really show if you were a better fighter because, you know, you were wore out. It's hard to fight one fight in one night, you know.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
So
like,
that era of the UFC went bankrupt and it canceled out.
People were dying.
Yeah. And so then Dana White seen something because he was like Chuck Liddell's corner guy and fucking, you know, investor and shit.
And like had a Don King kind of personality.
And he was like, dude, let me get this. And so he took it over. And then that concept and that format took it to this $1 billion industry that it is now. And that's the concept behind this roast battles. And that's why he's like, dude, you're the perfect guy to bring it. Because you were an MMA fighter, dude. So if anybody understands this whole battling thing, it's going to be you.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get that, dude. And like,
I really like that explanation of the Roadhouse too. How you have that, and that's like, yeah, you're in a cage and you guys, it's rowdy.
And it gets even better, dude. So this guy brings in a popcorn machine. And he has popcorn that you get, and you throw it at the guy you don't like.
Yeah, see.
So while you're on stage, it's say, you know, you're up there and you don't have your fucking shit together and you're just frozen. You're getting popcorn thrown at you. It's going to be even harder. You know, so this is, you know, rookies don't need to apply. You know, we got guys coming from Springfield. Kyle Fields is going to be a part of it.
Oh shit.
And fucking Matt Miller from up there. And Matt is fucking funny. All right.
Yeah.
Matt is new. He's only been doing it for about 2 years. And so he's been in there about as long as we have, you know, and he's just crazy, dude. This motherfucker is taking his shirt off on stage, pouring hand sanitizer on him. So it was like some shit. You're just like, wow. But
the best ones I've seen, I would definitely like shout out would be Quentin did a pretty good job at the mic. Cody Bear.
Cody's amazing. Cody's
He's
on there.
Really good.
So Cody and Elijah Zion are going to be matching up first round.
Yeah, Elijah actually did very well.
So
at
Elijah,
the last one. I was the judge at the last backdoor one.
These are first round matches. Is Elijah and Cody, Tom Brown. Tenerio Brown's on the show.
Tenerio, okay.
So Tenerio, I can probably say his name
Did
wrong.
he win the last one that they had? No, I don't know if he won the.
I love him, dude.
Yeah, no,
so,
Tenerio's cool as fuck.
He's
just Mr. Smooth, you know. He just
dude. He
every
just
time
seems
you
like a
see him,
motherfucker that I'd just kick it with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
I try to have him on the show, but it's just so hard to, you know. I get it; they're way out there. Like,
yeah, and Jefferson County line.
Yeah.
When you have,
you don't want to be caught out here. I get it, dude. Like I said, I would, as a kid, before Fenton became what it is, when Shop and Save and Walmart were still over there where Gold's Gym is and everything in Fenton, like back in the day, it was still country. It was like all that farmland. He would get pulled over at least once a week, saying either, "Oh, there's a light out on the plates," and they would get fucked. Anytime that my mom would be driving a car, they get pulled over and they think he's on the run from the city with warrants and
they're
shit.
like, "Are you okay, ma'am?"
Yeah.
Just blink at me if you're not.
The little kids in the back car, yeah. But and it's like they just they couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that this is a veteran from the Army, Navy, a business owner, owns his own company and stuff. And yes, they didn't live in the best neighborhood out
Too busy
there.
looking through it with their racist eyeballs. You know?
They couldn't find the bestest place, but they found a place when they first moved out there, wanting to buy a house, and they got like locked into a $350 rent for a 2-bedroom. Where can you get a 2-bedroom apartment that it's this is the one building out there in that neighborhood that is like you walk in and you're like, holy shit. The guy that owns it is a BMW. The guy that one of the main dudes, his wife was actually one of the families. Yeah, one of his family. His wife's family owned BMW or whatever over there in Brentwood or whatever, and he worked there too. So the building stays nice. It's really nice, especially them. But they just couldn't figure it out. Like they got 350. That's why they lived there. And that's the only. And it was always when they would be pulling in or pulling out of there to get hit. Boom, every time. And it was a long time.
Yeah.
And living in Virginia, I used to see it as a little kid. We would get people that would like spit in front of us. My mom would be called an in-lover a lot. We would be called it a lot. Like I get it, especially with down there in the South. Like it was bad. Like
yeah, dude. And you know, like I think it's bad here. So like I went on this radio show last week. It might have been, this was last week. And when I left the radio show, I went in the gas station right next door. Like, literally, it's like on the same parking lot. And I went into the gas station, I walked in, and 2 people at the same time go, "What in the fuck?"
yeah.
As I walked in, and I was like, they're talking about me. And I just walked, and I grabbed my Red Bull, and I went and I stood behind him. And I stand there, the guy checks out, uses his food stamp card to buy his fucking, bag of chips and shit, and turns around and goes, "You got something on your face." And I was like, man, I never heard that before. Thank you so much,
original.
man. And I was like, wow, dude. It happens outside of St. Louis. Like, St. Louis is so cool, dude. You can be eating next to a bearded lady and not even know because you don't care. We're all in our own lane, and we don't give a fuck. Like, just be happy. That's all that we give a fuck about. And then, like...
We're very passive-aggressive. We don't want complications, but we're going to talk shit about you at our table quietly.
Yeah. Or on our podcast. Bearded lady.
I get it. Like, me and my sister's been followed around a lot. But before you go, I'm going to do the Bobby's Place. I'm putting on a show. It's going to be bi-weekly or monthly for the comedians.
On what day?
So 26 is the first day. It's a Saturday. They're going to be Saturday night shows.
Sweet.
And it's going to be not a big, huge list of comics, but the comics that do get on the list each show is gonna get 10 to 20
So
minutes.
what do you do? How you sign up for that? You don't sign up for that. You just,
You tell me you're interested, and I'll let
I'm
you
interested.
know. You
How's
know?
that sound?
But right now I got Kyle Fields on it as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as the
You put
headline.
Kyle Fields. You guarantee you, Gary Becker and Kyle Fields. We go good together.
Well, it's at the Bobby's Place in Valley Park, which is an awesome little bar with a bunch of cool ass waitresses and a lot of cool people there. And after the show, there's a lot of shit to do. They've always got stuff going on, bunch of TVs and shit in there.
Yeah, you could get a black eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is security there. I know some of the security guards. I lived in Valley Park, and they were some big corn-fed boys over there
Yeah.
that don't fuck around.
Yeah, that place was like, so the old Funny Bone used to
Yep.
be right there. And that was where I first told jokes at. Like the first time I ever did comedy was at that Funny Bone. And I loved it, you know, and it was a great fucking place, and they loved me there. And
Management and flooding is what caused that, I
and
believe.
then the Westport Funny Bone, I would go there, and I signed up, and they didn't let me on. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm driving through snowstorms to get to this fucking Westport Funny Bone. And the dude was like, well, the guy said you look like Justin Bieber, and he don't let faggots that look like Justin Bieber on his stage. And I was like, oh, really? How about you tell him to come out here and I'll beat his fucking ass, you know? Because, you know, I was a fighter. I don't think about people being all passive and not fighting and everything else. So they were just like, all right, you got to leave right now. And I was like, what? They were like, you just threatened, I forget the guy's name. And they were like, you got to leave. I think it was Matt. And they kicked me out. And I was like, fuck comedy. I'm never doing it again. That fucking scene's stupid. They're all fucking stupid. I don't want to be a part of it. And so I went back into fighting. And I fought for a couple more years, you know. And then I came back and I started going to the improv shop. And I didn't go to the Funny Bone for a while, you know. I mean, it was because of the shit, you know. It was some ignorant shit to say to somebody, you know. And they're trying. I was just like, all right. But then I started getting out there at the Funny Bone, and I was getting on every...
and then changed. I'm sure a lot of changes were made in there.
Oh, yes. Shit happened, you know. And whatever. They didn't recognize me. I guarantee you that was what it was, is they didn't recognize me. I got a bunch of face tattoos and shit.
Yeah.
And,
So you had to scruffy it up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I decided I did, like I said, I did Funny Bone this past week, and the 4-minute thing, it's nothing against them. They give opportunities. I don't want to come back. I'm not going to try to put that down because I'm sure I'll sign up at some point in time again, but not until I can go in there. And I know that once I walk in there with the material I got, they have no other choice but to be like, I want him to do, like, I want him, like, he can come on, like, so, and it's going to be some time, a lot of time before that happens, so.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and so, like, I have fucking, you know, I have literally just, you know, it bothers you. I got discriminated on for nothing. Like, I did literally nothing but bring people there. I don't know any other comic in the St. Louis scene that brings 4 to 6 people to a show like that on a regular. And it's because
I did 2 at the back door.
I got a really cool friends fan base, you know, like I literally have a group of people that'll show up, you know, and it's cool and it's awesome and it's only the beginning. And we're only going to get...
Well, it's still no name for his shows. And he probably don't have a page or nothing because he's not obviously a very good businessman right now. Because
I don't have...
He obviously doesn't own any AMC stock.
Yeah, no, I don't own anything like that.
Just be careful, guys, with that shit. That's all I want to say to the people out there. I'm all about making money, and stocks is the best way to do it as far as a poor man getting rich. Only way to do it. Just be careful.
But... I got to get out
of
here.
What other shows? What are your dates? Your open mic?
Okay, so we got June 10th, open mic. And that's open for anyone. I'm going to put the list up this week. Okay. You know, just so that I have a good estimation, you know, because it's an open mic. And we're going to do it open mic style to where, like, I'm going to have an online sign up. But, you know, if people come and show up, they can still sign up there the day of. And just be a write-in, you know, and we're gonna try to get
kind of like helium status, leave a couple write-in spots.
Yeah.
Unless your list
so
fills up with good enough comedians.
So, and we're gonna fucking do great, and we're gonna sell tickets probably at about $3.
That's a good price.
And that way we can put in seats, people in there, and it doesn't matter if it makes money to me, because at the same, I literally.
You already got the venue.
Yeah, I got the venue. So what matters to me is that these people get to see what a great fucking stage this is, and then I get to see how people work this kind of stage so that I can use them in future shows, and I'm going to do this in the winter again, but I'm going to only do it in the summer and winter. And it's only because, dude, so many people have reached out to me that aren't like in our normal comic scene, that are like, hey man, when is the next open mic at Red Flag? And I'm like, you know how expensive that fucking place is to book, like
for a Red Flag,
for an open mic. I'm the one paying for this. And like the last time I did this, it was my birthday present. The last open mic that I did, literally I took my birthday money and spent it on, instead of getting another face tattoo, I went and fucking spent it on a comedy show.
Come on, you know what that did? He probably beat his old lady and kids after that.
I did. I was so mad.
Save them a ass beating.
Yeah.
Come to the show June 10th.
Yeah.
What time?
So June 10th at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Sign up if you want to perform.
So, we're going to do an online sign up, and then we're going, I have a show on June 12th. That's in Joliet, and that's a benefit show for this lady who's having cancer and all this crazy shit. But we're going up there. Kyle Field's supposed to be on that show. It's going to be a good show.
Oh, yeah.
And then we go into July. And July 29th is when the roast battles come. So in this next month, we're putting everybody's matches together. And if you want to do a call out, send me it. Let me know who you're wanting to call out, and we'll do that, dude. And
it really helps comics get on a show too, is to have even if it's not like a big time club, just a couple minute clip of if just to see what you got. Oh, yeah. I'll do that to promote my shows. If you look at the page Underground Comedy Series, you'll see I was going to have a Mike Ratcliffe, and I had a 2-minute clip or a 1-minute clip of that. I had John Maddy doing his Shane jewelry store or whatever.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Tom Shane. And he did that joke and everything. So that's have that ready to go, and that'll help too, and help promote to let people know who the fuck you are. But right on, appreciate you.